Hey bitches, it's me Pallavi, and this week on Dirty Science, we're gonna talk about the myth of the female orgasm. Nah, just playing. The female orgasm's real, but if you did feel relief, even if just for a second, bro, you got some work to do. Today, we're gonna talk about something much less stressful. Death! So what happens after death? I'll tell you what happens. You can't have my stuff! What happens in our brains when we die? Well, to even have the conversation, we gotta give you some background info. Neurons are cells in your brain that pass messages through electrochemical methods. The electrical signal flows down through a neuron, and then at the end of the neuron, these neurotransmitters are released from the neuron, passed through a space between the neurons called a synapse, and then these neurotransmitters bind to receptors on the second neuron, and that causes that neuron to pass its electrical signal. Okay, got it? Electrical, chemical, electrochemical. Like the connection would be between me and Jesse Williams if he ever gave us a chance. Okay, now on to the studies. EEGs, electroencephalography recordings, are recordings that detect brain waves. Brain waves are the electrical activity in the brain, and this is done by placing electrodes all over your head. They're trying to read our minds, man. There are several different types of waves in the brain that are present during different activities and are therefore associated with different levels of consciousness and types of processing. So what about these electrochemical signals change when you die? You, specifically, when you die. A 2013 University of Michigan study by Jim Borgigan showed that after clinical death means the absence of vital signs such as heartbeat and respiration. You know, like that one time I was at a birthday party at a pizza place and Jesse Williams and I locked eyes across the room and everything stopped. Anyways. After this clinical death, there were surges in these rat brains that may actually exceed the activity of these rat brains before they experienced clinical death. Amongst other things, these rats experienced higher gamma oscillations. You're just oscillating on like a totally different level, babe. So these researchers propose that overall, after their hearts stop beating or at near death, mammals can experience higher levels of conscious processing. Wait, is this why bitches love yoga and also love getting choked during sex? They're just out here thinking real hard. Man, the type of math they're doing. Loretta Norton at the University of Western Ontario looked at EEGs of patients as their life support was removed. For 3 out of the 4 patients, there was no activity in the brain before the heart stopped beating. However, for one of the patients, there was still delta wave activity for 10 minutes after the last heartbeat. And at the moment of death, there was no spike in activity in the EEG, no delta blip or death wave, as was shown in the gamma oscillation study with the rats. So this study found that there is potential for brainwave activity after death, but that the processing power did not elevate after clinical death, as was shown in the gamma oscillation study with the rats. Okay, now let's get to the chemical part of electrochemical. Serotonin! It's a neurotransmitter that's found in your brain and is associated with your levels of happiness. Like Beyonce content. Serotonin was found to increase extracellularly, or between cells where these messages are passed, by 3-fold. Scientists believe that because serotonin is involved with our happiness and reducing anxiety, that it might just be released to make death easier on us, like drinking or wills. Thanks for the death gift, Grandma. I'll be thinking of you every time I use this Xbox. Alright. Now let's get to what you really want to hear about. DMT, dimethyltryptamine, the spirit drug, the drug that people always say floods our brains when we die, and that people use as a psychedelic. What's a psychedelic? Like, I don't even know, boss. DMT is found in the body, but we don't know where it's produced. We don't know where it comes from. We do know, however, that it binds to the sigma-1 receptor, which is found throughout the body and which triggers a series of events that helps to protect cells from dying when they don't have access to much oxygen. So because it triggers a series of events, people believe that DMT could flood the body when you die as a last-ditch effort to save the body. But there might not even be enough DMT in your blood to affect change when you die anyways. So this is still a hypothesis. There is a push to study ayahuasca, a drink that contains DMT, and its effect on long-term users of this drink. So stay tuned, folks. Okay, so now, the death experience. Welcome to the death experience. In 2014, a study by Sam Parnia of Stony Brook University Medical School explored what 101 people experienced during cardiac arrest, or heart attack. Overall, they grouped these memories into 7 different categories, including fear, seeing animals and plants, bright lights, deja vu, seeing family, violence and persecution, deja vu, and recalling events post-cardiac arrest. 46% of people experience the stereotypical things people say about death: bright lights, fear, family. 2 people claim to have memories 2 to 3 minutes after their clinical death, even though the brain is supposed to shut down within 20 to 30 seconds of clinical death. The researcher who administered the study admits that this is probably an illusion in which patients remember events prior to the cardiac arrest and not after. So what does this mean? What happens when we die? We still don't fucking know. It seems likely from these studies that some brain waves continue after death, and that some chemicals are released during death either to save the body and or to make it easier for us to die. Other than that, scientists are still working on figuring it out. One thing about death that we do know for sure is that hell is real and it's gonna be lit. I love you, Jesse.